Okay, I remember now. Now, what happened is that I wanted to press the pause button. I wanted to press the pause, but I pressed stop by mistake. And I don't know how to, once to stop it, I don't know how, I don't know how to, say maybe fix it that it continue or whatever. So I just start with another video. Boy, I tell you, traffic is crazy on the road this morning. You know, I find that normally, like, I don't know, so sometimes it's funny how this flow works. Sometimes this time of morning, you don't have this rush. But I noticed that when you're getting nearer to the end of the week, for some reason, people seem to be rushing a lot more. Yeah, so so you have these zombies, slow zombies. Now, what I wanted to get to was that one of the themes, I think George Romero actually said this in an interview that, and of course I'm kind of like paraphrasing, but basically what he was saying was that, you know, his movie with them in the trapped in the mall, shopping mall, that would be like sort of like a critique of, you know, rampant consumerism, you know, in the United States. That was addressing this just wanton consumerism. And you know, when you think about it, because actually, you know, coming to think about it, in the movie, in the old one actually, there was a part where whoa, asshole, this dude, right, is overtaken on a corner on a solid white line. You see where those cars coming from? That's a corner. You see that? And this cat coming around in a blue truck, overtaken on that corner on a solid yellow line. I mean, common sense should be like, hey, it's a corner. And, you know, plus you'd figure the line would be a warning. You know, you had an old man who used to say, how you to put it? I pay for my license, but I not buy my license. Yeah, a lot of these guys, they buy their license. Straight up. That's like an open secret. A lot of these fellas buy their license. They would go to other jurisdictions, buy their license, come back here and transfer them, you know. And I wouldn't put it past to be doing that here too. But I don't have no basis like I personally don't know that I can say right off of I know of, you know, the buying a license here in this local. But I know for certainty in other places it go on. Like I know for certain thing. It could go on here too, but I can't say I know for certain thing. But I know for certain thing go on in other places. Everybody knows that. But anyway, yeah, so he was saying how Romero be saying, uh, in the movie actually, there's a part where they're having this talk, and one of the person says to the other one, well, like, in other words, they're coming here to the mall because, like in essence, like that in life, that is what was important to them. So, in the new Walking Dead series, zombies are attracted to sound. Um, but in Romero them, of course, yeah, they could hear you too. But a big part of it was them basically moving on a kind of more of an instinct type deal. And I mean, of course, I like to examine these movies like these. And what I've found is that when it comes to horror or generally science fiction, especially, um, there's a lot of good subtext that they be bringing out. When I find that when it comes to these sort of, well, of course, every type of genre has its thing, But when you look at sci-fi, when you look at horror, at least for me, like basically I look on the surface, and like you see a zombie walking up and down, but then you ask yourself, well, who's the zombie? What does that zombie symbolize? And of course, a good um, horror movie, horror book is gonna kind of spell out. A lot of them it's layered in, and I'm sure a lot of them shit. You I'll see one thing, you'll interpret it a completely different way. But even so, that's the mark of a good horror or sci-fi. But what I wanted to get to was that now, well, I remember years. Okay, now what has happened is that I I, I would like to speak to a sociologist in relation to this. Um, Possibly speak to somebody in marketing or general, media. But I've noticed that it's a trend now where if you look at a horror book now, in some cases sci-fi, when you look on the cover, there's absolutely nothing to indicate that it's a horror book. It, it there's absolutely nothing. No, I can understand, and to a degree, that is, to a degree. And even then, I don't agree with it. But I can understand, uh, for example, Stephen King. He has a book, well, uh, called It, and in the book It, in the sci-fi and horror community, It, you can't say you're a sci-fi fan if you don't know about It. Now that don't mean that you must like it, but it's it's reached to the point now where it that particular book is actually um, like iconic at this point. So there are certain things in it that from you see it, you know that it's it. For example, in it, if you let's suppose you had, just for argument's sake, a Stephen King cover, and you saw a little paper boat made out of newspaper, like you would know it if you saw the word it, of course, in Stephen King, of course. But if you saw, um, you're gonna have the title of the book, right? Which is simply it. But if you saw, for example, a book cover with just a red balloon on the front, like let's suppose I glanced over at I went to a bookstore and I saw horror, and I just kind of glanced over and I saw a book with a red balloon. I would know immediately, or I would definitely assume that's it, for the red balloon. Um, I definitely saw cover of one of his books with Pennywise, where his it was like this sort of clown mouse, red makeup type deal, big, large, giant, sharp teeth, uh, protruding, sort of like how Venom teeth look, sort of like that. And of course, you know exactly what that is because it's been around so long. So they can get abstract with the covers because it's been around so long. But then how can you have horror books that are just come out last week? You don't know who the hell this author is. You don't know anything about the lore of the book. Nothing. You don't know nothing. You've never maybe read the book, of course. But yet when you look on the book cover, and then even the name, it mightn't strike you as horror. Like, for you to know it's horror, you would have to just simply see it in the horror section and assume it's horror and maybe read the back with the description or whatever. But I'm wondering, my thing is, what is it about them? Why is it that that a lot of these people, they're publishing these covers that's horror, but it's like not horror? Now, I'm sure that back in the day, when Edgar Allan Poe and them boys were doing the horror stories, and I haven't researched this, but I'm assuming, I can Google this and check this out, but nevertheless, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And of course I'll correct myself if I Google it and find different, if I even remember to Google it and find different. But my point is, I'm sure, I'm almost certain that Edgar Allan Poe and those fellas, Vern and the crowd them, when they did their first books, I'm almost certain that the cover of their books didn't have no fantastical pictures. I'm almost certain of it. But at the same time, those guys, their literature, what were considered garbage. The establishment, didn't even consider their work so-called classic yet. It would consider it to be just trash. Like if you were literate, it would like, why would you waste time reading H.G. Wells or Jules Verne, Edgar Allan Poe, or I think her name is Mary Shelley, who did, the Frankenstein, or Bram Stoker, who did Dracula, back in them times. No, even though, morning, even though they had a pretty good following, but nevertheless, in general, like academia didn't accept that as true literature. To my knowledge, anyway. I could be wrong, but I'm kind of going off. But back again. Let me pull myself back. We live in a time when they can do fantastical things with book covers, so there's no excuse. No, yeah, I mean, fine, you can put, well, come on here and get out the middle of the road. Oh, you can. Cause what happened? These people, yeah, they inhumane. They'll be driving down this road and, chickens, I see it all the time, chickens in the road, and there's not any, you'll be like a single car coming down the road, and like I'll be walking, I'll see the chicken, and whether in the front of me or I might have just passed him, but I see the car coming, and if you kind of just walk and sort of be like, I just mind my own business and go, they'll hit that chicken. But if they see you looking at them, you'll see them kind of like slow up a little bit. You'll see these people in these nice, pretty cars, pretty beautiful women, driving in these pretty cars and, coming down the road. Man, they'll speed up and hit a chicken. But I guess that shows how twisted we are, and that shows how we live in a horrific world, because even me, who cringe at the thought of somebody deliberately killing a chicken on the highway, which of course that's inhumane and cruel, but plus I gotta walk across it twice, depending on, because I mean, these things take 2-3 days to get marshaled in the road. Sometimes the guys from agriculture don't necessarily get to it. I mean, those fellas do a good job, man. They cleans up that roadkill, boy. You can call them, and they'll come clean it up. But it's disgusting. Why do that? If come on. But my thing is, like I say, it's disgusting. I have to step over them and smell it. Yuck. But at the same time, I walk in Foster's and you smell that baked chicken. You know how that go. So that goes to show how twisted, we twisted, we all twisted. I even saw a part of an interview. I didn't even bother watch the whole of it, with this guy Neil deGrasse. Basically, like he would basically be like defending, eating meat. Then if he goes off anyway. But kind of ideal world, we'd all be vegetarians, but he was sort of trying to my understanding, paint a perspective, like in other words, or I could be wrong, but at the and maybe not fair 'cause I didn't watch the whole interview, but I kind of got at the second that I watched it, was like, oh, you eat a plant, that's just like eating a animal. That's kind of what I got from it. But then the question is, well, shit, if eating a plant is basically one step away from eating an animal, then what gonna stop you from eating a human being? Uh, you know? Suppose you feel that, because I mean there are many people who feel that there a lot of people justify the mornings are a lot of people justify the eating of animal flesh by saying, in other words, oh, they were made to be our food. Some people justify it by saying, like in other words, these animals can't talk, they dumb, we can just eat them. So 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 yeah. So it's like, well, wait a minute. So you're superior, so you can eat the animal. So then the question is, well, if that's the case, that you're superior in an intellect, so you can eat that chicken, then what happens when you are the human? Because there are millions of humans who feel that they're superior to other humans based on simply the way you look. What they call it, phenotype. So I'm like, shit. Hey, this is a good book idea. I need to play around with this and see if I can get a little short story out of this one. But it's like these what they call them, neo-Nazis. For I'm concerned, a friggin' Nazis are Nazi. Um, but they like to play with terms, neo-Nazi. But and the crazy thing is they call a person a neo-Nazi, but they're not necessarily registered like with a Nazi party, But anyway, I get the picture. But suppose a bunch of these these Nazis, Ku Klux Klan guys, suppose these guys were to get it in their mind that we're superior, so we got start going around eating, about who we deem as inferior to us. I'm sure somebody probably already came up with that shit, with a spin from that side. But again, in a science fiction show, I think it was was it a Twilight Zone? Might have been, but I'm almost certain that because I read the short story, and I can't remember who wrote the short story, if it was Ray Bradbury or who it was, but or Harlan Ellison. I can't remember who wrote it, but it was a short story called To Serve Man, and it was about these aliens who had came to Earth, and they were like very technologically advanced, and they were helping out the human race with all kind of stuff, and at some point finally somehow it was, I can't remember the full story, but the gist of it is that one of the, let's call him the star or whatever, the protagonist or whatever they call it, he discovered that this book, To Serve Man, it didn't have to do with them being, in other words, we're benevolent, so we're gonna serve you. Like, you know, like how the police got to protect and serve, to protect and serve. Um, no, this book was a cookbook, a cookbook. You know, I just come up with a good idea. You could imagine a universe where, and one of the beautiful things about good sci-fi is when you can look at it and it has, even if it's, let's say it's kind of bullshit, but it has some grounding in reality. Like, for example, a lot of police officers, their logo is to protect and serve. Um, yeah, to protect and serve. Um, so you can imagine, you know, if the police were their thing were to protect and serve. In other words, they they were here to protect you, like how a farmer would protect his livestock, um, but then to serve you up. Uh, I need to see how I could get that into some kind of story. Um, you know, and yeah, to protect and serve, and then tie it in with these neo-Nazis, these Nazis, these people who think they're superior, and and then they eating people. That I need to see how I could that that's a to see how I could twist that. Um, you know. But anyway, down on the beach, yeah. Um, oh boy, down on the beach again. But this is good, man. I tell you, this is beautiful. And again, of course, this camera can't do it justice. Believe me, this camera cannot do it justice. But anyway, catch up with you later.